Okay, let's go to the goddamn bank and rant about you know, it may not be right to complain about the things I'm about to complain about. But like I firmly believe, if what you need to see or do or understand is not exactly clear to you, sometimes you gotta say it to see it. So you gotta fuck up. You gotta say this stupid shit. You have to voice your complaints that you shouldn't. You have to get it out, and so in order for you to look back and see, oh, okay, I should do this, or oh, well, if I gotta make adjustments to that. Like, for me, I already know. Like, I gotta say shit to see it. I gotta fuck up. I gotta say some stupid shit in order for me to see what I'm saying and actually understand what I'm thinking and where I'm at and the proper steps forward. Like, I have to say it to see it. If you don't want to hear it, scroll away, because this is not going to be some feel good, inspirational message. This is going to be a messy rant on the frustrations that we find ourselves in, the loops and patterns we find ourselves in when there's something we're not quite seeing and we're repeating for whatever reasons, and honoring that irritation, that disgust, that annoyance, that frustration within you, honoring it without judging it. Like, don't prejudge and assume that you think you know what it's saying, so you think you know what to do without letting it get expressed. Like, you don't have to say it to anybody, but you have to own it within yourself. You have to understand where you're at, what you're thinking, what's frustrating, and like pull it apart. It's honesty. That's honest truth about where I am. Where am I? You got to find yourself on the map in order to know where you got to go. So here I am. Here I fucking am. You know, I'm realizing more and more crystal clear that I married my grandpa. I married my grandpa. When I first realized that, like about a year ago, it was like mind blowing. Like, wow, seeing all the connections and all the similarities. And now it's coming to the point where, okay, that's crystal clear now. Now what do you do about it? Like, what do you do? And so I'm realizing, right? Like, my life is going to stagnate and become stuck at this level if I just tolerate something that my inner being is no longer satisfied with. That's crystal clear. That's it. So when you think about it in that terms, see, one of the thoughts that comes, right, is like, what about your loyalty to your partner? What about the loyalty to your relationship? Like, it's not a hate. Like, there's nothing that's done wrong. Like, there was no wrongdoing, blatant wrongdoing. It's just a further and further realizing that the relationship is not syncing up anymore. It's not sinking. It's sinking. And like, it takes two to tango. And he's not willing to learn his lessons. He's willing to repeat cycles, do things over and over again, self-sabotage, repress, avoid, deny. Like, he's willing to do that and like continue in these patterns. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. Like, I want to get on with it. I see what's going on. I want to process and move forward. And I cannot force him to do that. I cannot force him to want to be better, want to grow, I cannot force him to do any of that. And that's fine. I understand that. But then the responsibility, the ability to respond lands on me because he made a choice. He doesn't want to do anything that'll adjust and move things forward. What do? Do I tolerate? Do I endure? Do I stay together because of the loyalty, the years you put in, or do you cut your losses? Do you cut your losses? Then the thought came, right? Like, okay, loyalty. What about your loyalty to your partner? Nobody's perfect, all this kind of stuff, which is true. Yeah, I get that. And why do you think I'm still here? But really, really, what about your soul? What about the growth that your soul is requesting? By the fact that you want to adjust patterns, you want to learn things, you want to expand, you want to grow, you want to move forward. Like if I stay and I endure, in essence, I will repeat the same mistakes, the same choices that my parents, my grandparents, and who knows how far this shit's gone on. I will repeat all of their patterns, and then stagnate and push the buck on, pass the buck on to my kids to figure it out. Oh, sorry, I couldn't do the things that my soul is requesting me to do, so the burden lays on you. Like, I'm not willing to do that. So really, really, the question comes of, what are you loyal to? Are you loyal to your relationship that has stagnated and it showed itself to be what it actually is? Or are you loyal to your soul? In essence, if you stay loyal to a relationship that is no longer serving you, you have sold your soul. I'm not willing to do that. And it's taken me years and years and years to realize that that's actually what's happening. Like that's the choice that's being thrust upon me. And see, these are the things, like I wouldn't see this, I wouldn't have come to this understanding if I didn't speak it through. If I didn't allow myself to feel annoyed and frustrated and complain and voice these things, like these kinds of realizations wouldn't come through. It would just stay as like this big annoyance, this big dissatisfaction that just, oh, just be better, just endure, nobody's perfect. You know, it'll give you all these justified and valid reasons why. Patience, let go, let it be what it be, it'll adjust itself, and like all these fine and valid explanations that are not actually honest. You know, like now you're using compassion, loyalty, endurance, like you're using all noble traits to validate staying where you're not supposed to be anymore. And who does that serve? You have sold your soul at that point. That's what I'm seeing now. I'm either going to sell my soul to maintain harmony and peace in this relationship that is actually going nowhere, or I'm going to accept the fact that these are hard choices. Hard choices. Wow, what's going on there? Hard choices that must be made. And like the more I talk about it, the more I have this like intuitive feeling that these are choices that prior generations, prior women in my family line have not been able to make for whatever reasons. Like this is not a judgment. This is like a, oh, you didn't do it, so I gotta do it now. It's not even that. It's not that. Like there's a time, there's like things like maybe they didn't realize it. Maybe they weren't in touch with, you know, they didn't have certain assistance that further generations now have with planetary alignments. Like it's the divine timing of things. And it's like if I'm seeing it, they never saw it. Maybe they had an inkling of it, but they weren't in touch with it. I am in touch with it. I see it. I feel it. I understand it. I have this like intense pull and drive to respond, be responsible. And so that doesn't make the choice any easier. That doesn't make the actions any easier. Not at all. But it just makes it undeniable and unavoidable. Like I literally feel like something is eating away at me inside. That's what it feels like. And you can only explain that. You can only deny it. You can only do all those things for so long before it will demand. It will demand of you through life events, through circumstances, through whatever. It will demand of you a response. You will be forced in between a rock and a hard place in order for you to do the thing that you already know you're supposed to do, but you won't allow yourself to see. And like the thought comes, right? Like, well, it's a projection and they're showing to you things that you denied and all that stuff, and it's all valid and it's actually probably true on one aspect, but it's not the whole truth. It's not whole and complete. It's not full. It's just a part. And so it's like realizing that that can be true. There may be things that you need to see and you need to address within your own psyche, but that doesn't deny the fact that you also live in the 3D material reality where actual real decisions must be made. That you cannot deny that. You cannot avoid it. You can't suppress it forever. But it's like the more you are honest with where you are and allow yourself to be where you are without making it wrong or bad, right? It's not like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to think these things. No, that's not right. You're being a victim. You gotta stop that. Think positive. All this kind of shit that actually just covers over and like further blurs and makes vague the actual thing that you need to address in order to move forward. Like, you cannot see that. You cannot make any real adjustments when you cover it over. You put lipstick on a pig, you cover a gash with a band-aid, you whatever, organize shit into a nice little neat pile, like whatever image you need in order to understand the actual subtle things that are happening when you're in this place of knowing that something must be done, yet afraid of the choice that must be made. And I mean, it's a grieving process too. Like, especially when you don't hate the person. Like, he didn't do anything to. He didn't do anything to really show that. Like the choice was not easy because it's not a. Well, you fooled around, so duh, it's obvious. I got to do this. It's not that. Which is what makes it further hard. And a part of me doesn't even want to make this because who's going to see it? Oh my gosh, he's going to see it. His friends are going to see it. His family's going to see it. My family's going to see it. People who are preying on my downfall are going to see it. Oh no, God forbid. But fuck it, I don't fucking care. Because that's another subtle way you sell your soul. You're going to hold back honoring and accepting what you feel pulled to do in order for you to learn what you need to learn, see what you need to see. And you're going to deny that because somebody opinion that doesn't know the full story might see it and think something. Irrelevant. Fucking relevant. And it's not a like it's not a hateful way of looking at it. It's just it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but it is still true. And if you want to get anywhere, you have to operate with the truth. You can't operate with illusions, fantasies, dreams, potential, hope. You can't move anywhere from there. It's fantasy. Fantasy has its place. It has its protection mechanisms and all this kind of stuff that allow you to process things while you're in the like before you can really accept whatever. It has its place. It's not bad and it's not wrong. It's a temporary fix that is not gonna progress anything. If anything, it'll cover it up so it looks like what is isn't. And then when that gets sheds away, you get yeah, it's a loop. You find yourself in the same loop. And I don't want to repeat loops. I gotta go buy my daughter something for Valentine's Day. Where would I put it though? Anyways, rant over.